Now I see. I don't know. I have a spinning white wheel. Right, folks. It says we are live. Although where we are live, I don't know because Facebook have this. They're acting the bollocks with outside apps coming in. But anyway, welcome to this week's edition of the Chat at 8. With me is a proud Munster man, Munster supporter, Mr. Colin Buckley. Colin, how the hell are you? Are you well in yourself?
I'm very good, Peter. How are you?
I'm not too bad, yeah. So listen, Colin, as I ask everyone, where were you brought up? Where were you born? And where are you speaking with us now?
So I'm a proud Corkman, as you say. Born and bred in Ballincollig here in Cork. I'm living still in Ballincollig. Actually, didn't fly that far away. So Ballincollig all my life. Proud Corkman. Went to Pres.
Good man.
From about 5th class, was pulled out of the Ballincollig school and brought into Pres for my sins. So I suppose that's where the love of rugby came from. It was battered into me, literally.
And okay, so on saying that, I presumed you played rugby.
I played rugby, yeah, but not at a. I never took it serious. When we were in Pres Primary, they took it serious. I didn't. I was still playing GA because I'd moved school, and they didn't like that, and they kind of rammed it down my throat a bit, and I didn't like that. So I rebelled a bit against it a bit. But we used to go out to Wilton on Wednesdays training and Saturdays for matches, and they'd make my parents go out to make sure I was there. You know, like they took it quite serious, and I hated it. When you went into Pres that time, it was like it was a soulless school. There were really intelligent teachers there that wrote books, and Alfie Madden was there, a maths teacher who wrote books and all that, but they had no skills, no social skills or people skills or anything, and I hated it. So I really hated the first 2 years of rugby in there because it was just, we were made, it literally rammed down our throat. But we went over to the new building, then to Pres secondary, and Declan Kidney was our year head for first year, and he knew he copped something that wasn't right, you know. And he pulled me aside one day. He said, "Look, what's the story?" And I said, "Look, this is it." And I named names over. And I said, "I hate it." And he said, "Fair enough." He said, "I know where you're coming from." He said, "Will you do me a favor?" He said, "Will you just come back?" I'd gone from it at that stage. And like that, my parents had been pulled in to say, why is Colin not playing rugby? Like, and he said, "Will you come back and give it until Christmas or something like that?" And I did. And every now and again, he'd have a chat. "How are you getting on?" I said, "Yeah, it's not too bad. It's totally different than what it was across the road." And then at Christmas, I wasn't getting games and stuff like that, and really wasn't interested. And he said, "Will you stay till the end of the year?" And I did. And he said, if you're still not happy, he said, "Look, fair enough." And I stayed until the end of first year, and that was me done with playing rugby until maybe I played a bit in second year. I can't remember. Until I was having a couple of pints one day in the rugby club in Ballincollig, and John Flynn, the legend of the club, said, "Come here to me. We were starting a second team or a third team. I don't know what it was at the time." He says, "Will you come out and play a bit of ball?" And I did, and I got a couple of more years out of it in adult life, and I really, really enjoyed it. My youngest brother played with Pres all the way up into the senior team, and lost the senior cup final by a point with Munchins, good few years ago now, a long time ago. And he also went to play for Ballincollig, which is a junior club. And he said to me one time, he said, "I never realised rugby could be so enjoyable."
Yeah.
So that school's
it's such a great game to play, though.
Absolutely, it is, and whatever I learned in school has absolutely stuck to me, because every match is going rugby or Munster anyway. I'll watch it on the phone. I'll record it. I'll have to see it, you know. And obviously, games, international games and Lions, and following all the other provinces as well. Like, you know, but it was instilled at a very young age. That we might where it came from, like, you know.
And what position did you play, Colin? Did you play one particular position? Did you specialize, or do you know the way some, like myself, some people change positions as they go through their school life?
It was more. I was always a forward.
Right.
When I played with Ballincollig, I'd play in the second row or I'd play in the back row. I
Right.
played a good few positions, but I was a bit more of a mulliker now. I wouldn't have been, you know.
That's a phrase I haven't heard in a long
I wouldn't
time.
have been like, I was horses for courses sort of a fella. Stick him in there, he'll do a job for you. Like, I wouldn't have been very talented now, you know what I mean?
Well, geez, you got a good few fucking years out of it, so you must be good at some way, shape, or form.
It was great. Look, it was more the friends and the crack and the going to matches I got out of it rather than actual playing of it. I meet people now that I played with 20 years ago or in school that I played with, and it was as if it was just yesterday. So it's more the friends you make, even in this group. Now the group you have there, it's a fantastic group. I really enjoy it. I think you have a different slant,
different approach.
Different, yeah. I got kicked out of the Munster supporters one.
Boy, what did you what did you do? What did you do to get kicked out?
I spoke my mind, Peter, and you know a few Barneys here on this group as well. You can learn how to speak internet, don't you? It took me a while, but I didn't do much. I was just being honest, and after a few beers, I'd say even an awful job on that group after matches when people are after a few beers. I'd say I switch off. No, I just don't bother until maybe the following day because I'll get myself in trouble. Like,
Well, I now, funny enough, I listen, Colin. I agree with you. Yeah, a few years back when I wasn't as au fait with internet speak and all this sort of stuff, I used to get myself into all sorts of trouble. I was barred or blocked or whatever the fuck it was before we set up the group. So you learn as you go.
Yeah,
it's like everything. Yeah, you learn as you go. But with the group, the behind the scenes group, we're all well used to it. When the Six Nations comes around, or if there's a big Ireland, South Africa, New Zealand, whatever test match, we know there's going to be people boozing and posting comments, and we're just all at the ready, and we're just waiting for it. And there's a certain amount of leniency given, but we know we're doing it.
I'm in the URC group as well, and I was in a couple of other groups, and I just left them because it was like literally hitting toxic, like, you seem to have a good handle, and as you say, you do have a little bit of leniency, and you do leave people maybe make their mistakes, because I know I had to text you a couple of times when I got in trouble for saying stuff, and look, Peter, I'm getting lambasted here. I was only saying this, and you know what I mean. I got destroyed there once or twice for speaking my mind. So you learn it. Yeah.
Listen, look, the idea is that we want people to speak their minds, express an opinion. Just don't troll, don't be a fucking asshole, and just if you express an opinion, be prepared for people to come back at you, and we just we look at it, and look, if it gets personal or whatever, then you shut it off. But anyway, look, you
do a good job. I think this site is, or the group that you have, I think it certainly suits me down to the ground. There's some of the other ones there are just fucking hard work, like,
Yeah, true. Anyway, so back to you, Colin, which is the whole point of this chat. Jesus Christ, we wasted fucking 10 minutes talking about you, Colin. Fucking hell, Christ, and the group.
My plan is working.
Have you ever been to? Do you go to many games, Colin? I think I asked you this, but people might not know this. Do you go to many Munster games, or away games, or European games, or?
I used to. So when the kids were small, I have 4 kids. I have 4 girls from 24 to 9, and
24?
Before.
Holy fuck, Colin! You don't look old enough to have a 24-year-old.
51 now on Monday, so I was.
Oh, very good. Did I wish you a happy birthday? Because I get a few of these.
We won't use it. We won't say it on live Facebook. The message.
What did I say to you? Did I wish you happy birthday?
You did. You did.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Sorry.
Well, I used to go to a lot of matches. I used to go. Go to Musgrave Park with Munster matches in particular. That journey from When did they lose the Southampton game? Was that 04 or something like that?
The Southampton game. What fucking game are you talking about?
Northampton. I don't know. We say 04 and they won it in 06. That journey, before they won the Heineken Cup, and Leinster weren't even couldn't even spell Heineken Cup at that stage.
That's right.
That was a superb time to be alive and to be following Munster rugby. What crack we had. I was in France, was in Béziers the year. I think that was a quarter final, but they brought on Donegal Callan. They had to take him off again. Remember?
Yes.
That's the year they won it. They beat Leinster in the semi-final, I think, in Lansdowne Road. I was at that. I was at the final in 06, 08, and loads of games in between. I went to Wales a good few times. Cardiff would be a good place for Munster supporters. They'd be very fond of Cardiff. So yeah, I used to go to a pile of matches. I remember a Heineken Cup match in Musgrave Park. It was something like, someone like Benetton. It was probably a different name back then.
Yeah.
Up to Dublin to the Six Nations. I actually went to the Italy game this year, and I hadn't been to a Six Nations game in years. Life gets in the way, kids gets in the way.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah, so I haven't been at many in recent years, but Jesus, I was at as I say, that journey, that Munster rugby journey before they won their first Heineken Cup. That was.
I'd say, Colin, I was just going to say, I'd say that was an absolutely euphoric experience for a Munster supporter in the lead up to that in those years. I remember it well, of course. I remember it well.
What a journey! Like, it was the chase of the golden, chasing that golden Dallas, like Donal Lennon.
It was a great team. It was a great team, Colin. Sorry to cut across you. That was a great team back then.
It was, and it was a more or less homegrown team. Maybe Jim Williams, maybe another one. Langford before Jim Williams. Langford brought in I think you could say that he was the guy that brought into professionalism into Munster rugby. He brought it over. This is how it's done, lads. This is crazy stuff. Like what you're at here, it's still a bit amateurish. Kilkenny got good people around them, and Jim Williams came in. Jim Williams was a fantastic leader.
He was.
But for the most part, there was a lot of homegrown talent there. I think it reminds me of the team today that they have in place. Like they've got a huge amount of homegrown talent. A lot of people from like the West Cork Mafia. There must be 7 or 8 of them down in West Cork, which is fantastic for a Munster supporter and a Corkman to see that, but it was quite a homegrown team that time.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely.
All of it. Claw and Anthony Foley would have been my hero. They were. It was a brilliant experience to. I remember, Jesus, thinking through. There was a Heineken Cup final on. So if we could score a try now in say the 7th or 8th minute, or if we could living it almost with them, Frankie Sheehan and all them, a lot of them went to Prez as well, so you'd kind of half know them, it was a fantastic time for rugby. It was super.
How do you think you're going so far this season in the URC? I think are you 4th? I think in the table. Is that right? I don't know.
Either 5th or 4th. Either 5th or 4th, but we're going. Do you know what? We're going great. I think they have the right coach in place. I'd be very disappointed with the South African coaches that they brought in the last 8, maybe 10 years. I don't. The decision making at the top
Colin,
level.
Van Gran was a fucking disaster for you.
They left people. Fucking homegrown good players go. James Cronin's Ballincollig man. They left him go. John Ryan. They left him go. They got him back. But they made good decisions, but really bad stuff as well. Ridiculous stuff.
Yeah.
And
I'd
they let us
actually,
down.
Colin, I put Van Gran, Dan McFarland, and Eddie Jones in the same fucking bracket.
Yeah, I don't know how McFarman was he up in Ulster for 6 years. I don't know how he lasted that long.
I don't know. No, I don't think it was quite that. Maybe it was. I don't think it was
He's
quite
been there
that
a good
long.
while.
Oh, and
Like,
also,
I remember,
sorry, I just to throw a bit of Leinster stuff in there. I put Matt O'Connor in there as well.
would you? Yeah.
He was a
And
fucking disaster.
good old pundit, huh?
There you go. That's it. You got to be fair.
Yeah.
You got to be equitable. You know.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
suppose.
no.
Look, you're always going to get one, a bluffer, like. But I think I'd be very disappointed with the South Africans. They bailed out. They bailed out on us. They left us fucking high and dry, like. You know, they didn't give two fucks about us, and I didn't like that because Munster would be. That's certainly not what the old Munster team in the past. They would have done anything for each other, anything.
Yeah.
And then it went to that, like, and it was pure commercial decisions and money and all that, and you know, Anthony Foley dying and all the rest of it. You know, it was quite, I'm sure it was complicated, and I know Foley had issues with the South African coaches as well, and I'd say it was complicated, and there wasn't any money there either, and they did the best they could, but fuck it, I think the South Africans left us down badly.
Yeah. Actually, talk about Axel Foley. It's one of those things in history and sporting history where if you asked anyone who's into the game, do you remember where you were when you heard Anthony Foley had passed away? I think everyone will go, "Yeah, I was in the kitchen. I was doing this. I was in the pub. You know,
couldn't believe it.
Fuck it! It was a shock. It was a fucking. It was a shock throughout the rugby world when that happened. I couldn't fucking believe it. I absolutely couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah, and there was a documentary, and I could never watch the documentary, and I had it saved, and I watched that now after a few pints some night, and I deleted it. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
Oh, I watched it. I watched it, Colin. I watched it. I watched it.
Maybe I should, but oh fuck it, that was.
Yeah.
Of all the men, Jesus, like of all the leaders, what a strong man that man, you know, and it just shows just humanity as well, like, you know.
Yeah.
It can happen anyone. It can happen anyone, and it was a huge shock, and it's you know, I think was it Glasgow? No, they were in France.
They were in France. They were playing. Who were they playing? Who he is playing? Jesus, I can't even remember.
That's France there, maybe. I can't remember. But the next game was I think it was against Glasgow in Thomond Park, and didn't Keith Earls get a red card? Didn't he? Like the emotion was so high, and it was a crazy time. Everyone was everyone loved the man, and it was if you were on the journey, the previous journey, and all the way up through that, and from there to now today, or I would say last year winning the URC, like that was, I know, how many years were we without a cup? Was it 10 or 12 or something? And for them English coach to come in, a prop to come in, and just we were so used to having these South African guys and talking the talk, and then this man came in, said, "Right, lads, there's something wrong here. You're better than this," and got that old kind of Munster ethos, bit of fight, bit of bitterness, as they say, or chip on the shoulder, as they say, and they've got it back. Thanks be to God, they got it back, because we were surely better than that. The second best team in Ireland. We were always going to be the best or the second best team in Ireland, and at the time we were the third or the fourth. I read someone on an English commentator on some paper that Munster, you know, 2-3 years ago were the fourth best team in Ireland, and I was going, fuck you, like, you know. There's a bit more to us than that.
I think to be honest with you, Colin, the Irish rugby needs a good performing Munster team. Right, it needs a good performing Ulster team, but they're in a huge rebuild at the moment. It needs a good performing Connacht team, and it needs a good performing Leinster team. Now, look, I'm not saying this because of who I support, but if face facts, Leinster players provide most of the Irish squad. Okay, that's just a simple numbers.
That's what it is.
Right? But Irish rugby, we do need. It does need a good Munster, a strong Munster team, because Munster have produced so many iconic players over the years. As have Connacht to a lesser extent, and Ulster to a lesser extent. But look, all the provinces, Irish rugby, the national squad needs all 4 provinces playing well. And Munster, by your own admission, and I think everyone, whoever they support, would agree, Munster did dip.
Oh yeah, big time.
Again, what did you think of the recent game there against the Ospreys? I presume you watched that?
Yeah, it was a tough one, wasn't it? Ospreys weren't really playing very well. I know what their situation is. I know the Welsh
rugby, Colin. Welsh rugby, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Oh, look, I feel for them, because the only thing, look, without going into that, well, they'll bounce back fast if they can sort out their grassroots stuff and start putting a few bob into the grassroots. They'll bounce back fast enough. The Ospreys I was surprised how good their scrum was.
Yeah, actually,
I was surprised how good their physicality and the breakdown was. I wasn't expecting that from them now. And that was a proper game. I bet you those lads Munster boys were fucking sore and tired after that one. That was a proper game. There was nothing easy there. Only that O'Brien's 2 tries I thought were fantastic.
They were, weren't they? The football skills, they were good.
How the ball didn't go into touch. It was like a soccer ball along the tramline there.
I think everyone, Colin, thought the ball was going to go in. I was actually getting up to make a cup of tea on that. Fucking hell, it's a line out. It'll give me 2 minutes. I'll make, and then I didn't even leave. I said, for fuck's sake, Jesus Christ! But come here, you've got another Welsh team ahead of you now. I think you're playing Cardiff next, aren't you? At home.
I actually don't know, Peter. To be honest, I didn't even look.
Hold on, I'll tell you now. Yeah, you are. You're playing Cardiff at home.
Cardiff are always tough, but
yeah, I know. We just fuck off with your Cardiff is always tough. Who the fuck are we playing? We're playing the fucking Bulls tomorrow night, for Christ's sake. It's like Ireland playing South Africa on fucking tomorrow night.
10 international back, for fuck's sake, and you've got a few more on the bench.
I think there's 1,500 caps, Irish caps, or no, not Irish caps, Leinster caps on that Leinster team playing tomorrow.
Go away, yeah.
Won't be fucking easy now. It won't be easy.
Two things there, just about that match against Ospreys and stuff like that.
Yep.
You could see a difference in Munster this year. There was no panic at any time when the scrum wasn't going well, or lineouts, a few missed lineouts as well. And you can see how they're willing to play the ball out wide. And you can see that these young players now are used to winning. These young lads won't have been in the team now 3 or 4 years ago when we were doing really poorly, and I'd say must have been hard going to work every day for those lads. But there's a different attitude and there's a different energy at the moment in Munster. Mans O'Brien if we tried to do that 2 years ago, that ball would have bounced out. It's just that positivity.
Yeah.
They're not chasing the game, sorry, they're attacking the game.
It's that half a yard, Colin. It's that half a yard. It's that.
Yeah, up here, top 2 inches. Is belief. There's belief there, and they believe in themselves now. That was something that they were lacking a little bit. They used to have good teams there in the last 5, 6, 7 years, but they didn't have the belief. Now they have it. They have the right people in charge as well, Peter.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
Isn't there a possibility, Colin? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking at something on reading an article on Rugby World. Is there a possibility that Munster and Leinster can meet each other in the Heineken Cup at some stage? It could be possibly Croker or so. Did I read that wrong, or is it the URC or the Heineken Cup that there's a possibility that the two of us can meet?
I don't know.
Or do you know?
Could be. I think someone might have said Heineken Cup to me ages ago that there's a possibility ages ago that we could meet. I don't know, Peter, actually.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Well, how did you enjoy the Six Nations just gone?
Good. I really enjoyed it.
I hear a but, Colin. I hear a but.
No. I enjoyed
No.
the World Cup. I enjoyed the World Cup. I went to one of the matches. I was 50 last year, and my family bought me a trip to Bordeaux with my two
Brilliant.
brothers. Then was 40 as well, so we went to the Romania game, and we also got Fiji and Wales the following night.
Very good.
Absolutely fantastic time, and
I was going to say, how was that? How was that experience? Tell me.
But the weather was fantastic. Everything. It was just a brilliant. It was a big group of lads. The brother below me organised. He's got a lot of friends. He lives in Dublin. He's got a lot of friends both in Dublin and in Cork, and they do he's been to a lot of Lions stuff when he was in New Zealand and stuff like that. They've been to a lot of games. They're good travellers, good company now. They know the
I
crack.
bet you he has no kids, Colin. I bet you he has no kids.
He has two young ones, but when he was in New Zealand, that's back. So when was that, Lions? Fucking years and years and years ago.
Yeah, he's no kids. He's no kids.
No, not that time. But what I'm saying is these guys are 7 or 8 years younger than me. Their kids are a bit younger. Maybe they have more scope. I don't know. But they're good travellers in terms of they're good match goers. They're used to the crack. I went in with a big gang of them, and we had absolutely the best time. It was brilliant. To answer your question, I really enjoyed the Six Nations. It felt as if it was one big season or one big Six Nations, the World Cup and the Six Nations. Like, it happened kind of so fast, and same team involved and same group, and the fact that they didn't make any changes after it, I felt Farrell's attitude was brilliant, that he said, no, we're not going to rebuild for the World Cup. Well, in my head, that's what he's saying. I could be totally wrong. But we are going to attack the Six Nations. I was delighted for them. I was surprised France fell away. I was really disappointed.
As we all were, Colin. As we all were.
Yeah. I was really disappointed we didn't do as well, but you could see the fatigue in that group of players in the last two matches, or maybe after the first game, maybe the second, third game, you might have spotted it, but definitely towards the end of the campaign, Six Nations, I thought they were just on a shoestring. They were just holding on for dear God. Gibson Park kept us out of big trouble a couple of times towards the end of the campaign. Lowe kept us out of big trouble towards the end, and it could have gone badly wrong, like, for us. It was a huge level of fatigue, I think. So
I was talking, Colin, to a well-known. You'll know his name if I said it. I won't, but a well-known journalist, rugby journalist, and I asked him the same question, and he said apart from the French game, it was boring because it was expected. It was expected that we were going to either win the Grand Slam or the championship. So.
Boring for him.
Well, no, he's Irish journalist. He writes for one of he writes for one of the national newspapers. A well-known rugby journalist.
See where he's coming from. Yeah, it wasn't as inspiring as we'd say the earlier games, the World Cup games, or the first game. It certainly took a dip, but I the big thing to watch going forward, Peter, is what's Farrell going to do now.
He's taking a sabbatical. He's taking a sabbatical next year, Colin.
For the Lions?
He's taking it. So whoever steps in, for next year's Six Nations,
I'm sure he'll have an overall plan because he's still going to be there afterwards. So how are they going to? They're going to have to change things around, aren't they? They can't keep playing like that now because teams have kind of figured them out, maybe to a certain extent, line out and stuff. So how are they going
I tell you, Colin, where we will learn an awful lot about this Irish team is when they play South Africa. When they play South Africa in July or whatever it is, and then we come back and then we got the.
We're going to have to come with a new game plan now because that game plan that got us through the World Cup and Six Nations, that's not going to cut it. They're going to have to change it around because teams we'll get hurt. They will go after us.
I totally agree. And what's the next game that you're planning on going to? Are you going to go to the Cardiff game because that's at home? think in Thomond, I think.
No, the next game I'll go to now. I was at the Crusaders game. I brought the kids to that. That was great.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best of games, but it was a great experience going out to Parky Keeve and that. I don't know actually, Peter. I haven't thought about it because I've done my Six Nations now. I got my game out of that. It's a good question. I haven't even asked myself that now. Probably Musgrave Park, something. I'll bring the girls into a women's Six Nations. That's what my next game is.
Oh, I go on Sunday. Are you going on Sunday?
Yeah. No. Right. But there'll be 1 or 2 in Cork. I'll go to one of them with the kids.
I've never been to a women's Six Nations game, so I said I'll go on Sunday.
Fair play. No, they need support. They're 10th in the world. They're a young group. They're coming along nicely. I went to the England game last year in Musgrave Park with the kids, and it was a very, very new setup and a new group, and they did. I was talking to a few people who weren't directly involved, but were kind of in the periphery of involvement that I know. They're from Ballincollig, whatever. They were saying that they did well to hold England that day. You know, they were excited about this year. So I think we should do okay. I think hopefully.
Did you watch their game against France last week?
I didn't because I was working. I was supposed to, but I was working because of the weather. The weather is shite, so anybody good half day here, half day there. We have to keep the head down, you know. I didn't. I didn't see.
All right. Okay. But if you were to, what annoys you about the game? If you were sitting at a table, a boardroom table, you were the head fucking honcho of everything that goes on in rugby, and you said, "Right, lads, ladies, I want to get rid of this." What would you say? No, I'll give you a pointer. For me, I've said it on the show on Wednesdays. I'd love a scrum clock.
Oh yeah,
like the penalty clock. I'd love a scrum clock. 30 seconds, 45 seconds, whatever it is. If you haven't set or done a scrum, a penalty or free kick or whatever.
It will work, but if the weather is bad, it mightn't work because there genuinely might be issues scrummaging. The fucking caterpillar ruck has to go, doesn't it?
Oh, look, listen, I'm campaigning to get rid of that fucking thing. I'll keep posting about it.
The kick tennis thing. I don't know what can they do about that to stop the kick tennis thing. The caterpillar ruck and the fucking kick tennis, that bugs the shite out of me. You know, I don't know. I know, like the kick tennis thing as a part of the game. How would you change that? I don't know how you.
How you change? I'll tell you, Colin. How you change both of those? The caterpillar ruck, max two men bound, right? Max, no one else can join. 5 meters back or you're offside. Max 2 bound, right?
Yeah,
that's very easy reft. Max 2 men bound, right? The kick tennis thing, that's as we know is called Dupont's law. Bring it back to basics. When I played the game, when you played the game, Colin, to be onside, you had to be in level or behind the kicker, or made an attempt to get back. Made an attempt to get back onside. Bring it back to that, because at the moment, as you say, Colin, this kick tennis is just fucking shite. It ruins the game. It's boring, you know, and they're trying to get more.
Sucks the life out of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It does. Yeah. Who's your current favorite player, Colin? Could be. It doesn't have to be Munster. It could be worldwide: French, English, Welsh, Irish, international. Could be anyone.
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, Peter O'Mahony is the boss in Cork, but you know, he's not everyone's cup of tea. He's not perfect. I like him as a leader. Who's my favorite player? Do you know what? I must say, and I'll just be very honest.
Please do.
I was very pleased with how James Lowe. I'm not going to say he's my favorite player, right? But I'm going to say I was the most surprised how he performed in the last 6 months. I didn't expect him to be as at ease at what he does. I suppose I like Mac Hansen as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say
he got into. Do you know what? I like Gibson Park. I'll be straight out about it. There's no point in going, oh, I love a Munster player because I'm from Munster. There's some of them. I thought Gibson, Park, Lowe, and Bodiaki were the best players for us for both campaigns.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, for just it doesn't matter what province they play for, but yeah, I totally agree with that. They are fantastic players. I also like Colin. I also like Tyke Byrne. I think
Tyke Byrne is brilliant. Yeah, he is. I think he does a bit too much. Tired. I think too much goes through him early in the game, and he gets tired later in the game, and he's not as efficient.
He's king of the Jackals. He's king of the Jackals, Colin. He's king of the Jackals.
Brilliant. Come here. What's the story? Wait, this is a question. What do you think of Tyke Furlong?
I think he's coming to the end of his days. I think his best days are past him, to be honest with you.
I think he was under a little bit of pressure there in 1 or 2 games there this year in the Six Nations. He looked. You can't have a fella there for scrummaging anymore. You can't. He has to be able to do more.
The only, I mean, if that you know this, Colin, and everyone who gets to see this, everyone who's a rugby fan and watches rugby or is into the game, your front row, particularly your props, are not expected to play 80 minutes. You might get 50. You might get 50 minutes, 55 minutes out of them. Andrew Porter is an exception. That man's just a beast. I think he played on average 70 minutes for Ireland.
Yeah. Solid.
But that's, see, we're lacking in props coming through to the Irish setup, the national squad setup, and that worries me. Most other positions, with the exception of maybe fullback, for a dedicated fullback. I'm not talking about Frawley, the Swiss Army knife, throw him in. We have Hugo Keenan, but who else have we got as a dedicated fullback? This is the thing.
Yeah.
And then the
who
10 problem.
Sorry, I've got to cross you. I did. Do you know, you asked me a question, who's your favourite player? And I mentioned, look, I was surprised up there. Do you know who potentially could be? It could be Dan Sheehan.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking love the way that man can get a ball, get a pass, and just turn on the afterburner, and he's gone.
He could turn up anywhere. Colin, he could turn up on the wing. He could turn up.
He's got a rugby brain. He's a front rower. He can run. He's just, and I'd say he's an absolute gentleman because he's very unassuming. I think I'd nearly put my stamp to that man's name now as my favourite at the moment.
You're right. I met him briefly in the RDS. He is, and Dan he's a very nice man, a very unassuming, very kind of shy like fella. He's a lovely fella.
He's some player. He's unreal.
He is. Yeah. Now, I'll ask you the same question about favorite player, but retired, past, go way back, whoever you want. What would you reckon? And then we got to wrap it up. Holy fuck, Colin, we're nearly approaching 40 minutes. I said I'd keep you half an hour.
Oh yeah, we're talking shite, sure. Anthony Foley all day long.
I thought you'd say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would, Anthony Foley. I'd say if you were to turn the tables and ask me who my favorite player was at the moment, I'd probably say for Ireland, and obviously Leinster, Josh van der Flier. My favorite.
He's another unassuming man. What? Jesus Christ, he's brilliant. Brilliant.
I'd say my past, someone who's retired. I have a few. Brian O'Driscoll is my obvious choice. I thought he did wonders for Leinster and Ireland winning this game, and I just thought he was one of the best at what he did. No, he was. I thought he was fantastic. Oh, Jesus Christ! I could sit here and talk to you all night, but I said I'd only keep you half an hour.
That's grand.
Actually, one last question, Colin. You're a stadium you've been to that has hugely impressed you for atmosphere, for the build.
Millennium Stadium. And I've been in Thomond Park now on the good days when Wasps were there and a few other teams. How was the French lad, the big French lad with the beard? He got bulldozed one day by Paul O'Connell. I was at that match. Fantastic.
Sebastian Chabal.
Yeah, Chabal. I was at Ireland and Wales played. I was say I don't know. I'm only guessing now. 18 years ago. For if
Yeah,
Ireland won, they
yeah,
won the championship, I think, and if Wales won, possibly the same. And there was a big rigmarole about the roof being open during the week and all the rest of it wasn't going to be open, and it was Welsh bullshit just to take the the pressure off themselves, right?
yeah,
Well, they fucking turned up that day, right? And after about 15 minutes, it was fucking game over. And they
yeah.
started singing Bread of Heaven over there inside.
Oh dear, oh dear.
I tell you now, the hairs were standing on my arms. I it it, it wasn't something I heard. It reverberated in my fucking body
Yeah, yeah,
when they
yeah.
got going, and they won. They kicked the shit out of us, and they won what was it, the Grand Slam or the Championship? Can't remember. I'll never forget that day. Boy, fuck, that was awesome.
What was your look, I could keep I better just end it at this. What was
Because
your what was your most memorable rugby moment? I presume it was 2004, that run up to the first Heineken Cup, was it for you, for Munster?
a particular match or a time?
No, just a memory, just I was at this
Yeah,
game, or whatever, just a rugby
yeah.
related memory.
I think when two answers, when Munster beat Leinster in Lansdowne Road in the semi final, that was unbelievable. But the run up to Munster winning their first Heineken Cup, that will never ever happen again. And
Yeah,
if you were there and you experienced it, you will take it to your grave with you if you're a true rugby supporter. It's just, if you weren't there, you can't explain it. It
yeah,
was some journey. It was
yeah.
the people that I have friends that I went to some of the matches there, and Jesus, those lads there, I won't mention their names, they're from Ballincollig. Like,
No, no,
the
no,
time
no, no.
we were coming back from Limerick and we stopped in this place, and the crack, lads, was just unbelievable. Like, yeah, never happen again.
Well, you never know. Right,
Yeah,
listen, Colin. As I said, I could fucking sit here and talk to you all night. But
yeah.
we must end. Oh, Jesus Christ, we're 42 minutes. Colin, listen, mate. You're a gentleman. It's been my pleasure chatting with you, and thank you for your time. If this hasn't been screened in the group, I'm going to copy the link from YouTube and put it into the group, so everyone can watch it. But
Yeah.
listen, Colin, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you very much for joining me tonight.
No bother, Peter. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Colin. Good luck, mate.
Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.